There is too much microplastic in the water. Where is the limit?
We have set certain limits. It's also problematic that microplastics are defined by regulation as 0.1 micrometer, but anything less than that falls under nanoplastics. So the longer plastic decomposes, friction, physically, thermally, whatever, the smaller it gets, and this has not yet been defined. It was the same with PFAS and everything else. In other words, we also have certain substances that are not defined or cannot yet be explicitly measured.
We all desire to improve our health and prolong our lives by adopting a healthier diet. However, we often overlook the importance of the water within our own bodies. With countless options available, it can be challenging to determine which water is best for consumption. Is tap water or bottled water always the optimal choice? And are there any alternative options? In this podcast, we seek insights from Dr. Fabio Hüther, a renowned water expert and the founder of Evodrop, a Swiss company specializing in water treatment systems for the real estate industry, prepared to delve into topics such as water filtration, drinking water, and the essential minerals that make water beneficial. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello, Fabio. Hello, Marco. Thank you very much for the audience.
It's great to have you here. It's not the first time. Now, my question to you, what does healthy and good water mean to you?
Yes, that's a very complex and difficult question because water is as individual as man himself or as nature and the world itself. In a way, you have to diversify it or look at people themselves, what stage they are in. In principle, it can be said that it should definitely be free of pollutants, it should be pure, it should be in balance in terms of pH, and we will come back to this later with a kind of hydrogen and coherence, so to speak, so that there is better cell mobility and availability, or that the water is also effectively absorbed. Water is not just water. That's right.
Water is not just water. The media is also talking more and more about the quality of drinking water in Switzerland. In particular, what can you tell us about it?
Yes, for example, there was a profound article by the CTIB where people, the inhabitants of Switzerland, could send in water from their tap water free of charge, and more than half of it, more than every second tap water, was contaminated with microplastics, for example. Then there was an environmental study by the Federal Office on PFAS, these eternal chemicals that can be found everywhere, as we now know. There is currently a lawsuit in the USA with the chemical giants for several $100 million in damages, which can also be found in water, as well as certain pesticides, where we had the problem with chlorothalonil and everything else that is increasingly being found. Of course, the waterworks are working on this, with a fourth purification stage, with activated carbon, for example. But as we know, this is always a procedure and is the central problem. You can't always solve because I still have the pipe route to me. All these agglomerations, and at the point of use, so to speak, where I drink it, decentralized is the most pragmatic and also the most sensible.
Absolutely. The question is also a bit about where the boundary is between levels that are harmful to health, where it is now said that there is too much microplastic in the water. Where is the limit?
We have certain limits in place, but there is a problem with how microplastics are defined. The current regulation sets the limit for microplastics at 0.1 micrometers. However, anything smaller than that is categorized as nanoplastics. As plastic decomposes or is subjected to physical or thermal forces, it becomes even smaller. The issue here is that the definition for these smaller particles is not yet established, much like in the case of PFAS and other substances. In other words, there are certain pollutants that are not clearly defined or accurately measured, such as PFAS. This is concerning because PFAS is now subject to regulations, despite our limited understanding of its effects. For instance, nitrate, which is considered a pollutant, was found to increase the risk of breast cancer in women by over 20% or 25% in a Scandinavian study that discussed a concentration of just 5 milligrams per liter. In Switzerland, the limit value for nitrate is 40 milligrams per liter, while in Germany or the EU, it is 50 milligrams per liter. It is difficult to establish a causality of correlation in such cases and draw generalized conclusions. The lack of precise definitions and limited understanding further complicate matters.
What is still good water, and how do I, as a layperson, know whether my water potential is contaminated?
It is not an easy task, nor can we claim ownership of this water as it has undergone treatment by Evodrop. Just like yours, it may not appear to have any detectable pollutants, nanoparticles, or similar substances. It is a common misconception that water from third world or developing countries is always colored brown. However, this does not necessarily imply contamination. It is simply due to the presence of natural substances like humic acid or other earth materials. Many pollutants can go undetected without the use of laboratory equipment. We always advise people to opt for laboratory tests, such as those for nitrates or nitrites, which can be performed at a reasonable cost. Additionally, specific laboratories in Switzerland offer tests for microplastics at a price of around 400 or 500 Swiss francs. If you require analysis for a pesticide mix, the cost may surpass 550 Swiss francs. Although it is possible to undertake tests on a lesser scale, the cost can quickly escalate to a few hundred or even a few thousand Swiss francs. It seems you have already purchased a system to tackle this issue.
And then there are the water filters, which are designed to filter out such pollutants. How can I judge the quality of a water filter? What different water filters are there?
You can now walk into the supermarket and find carafe filters, and it says filter. Even the construction side, the pre-filter, the sediment filter is declared as a filter, so to speak.
What do these carafes filter?
Exactly, the one that is usually installed in a house, which has been mandatory for several years now. It is above all simple. It holds rust, i.e. larger particles, simply up to 100 micrometers. To illustrate this, they are at 100 micrometers. We are at 0.0005 micrometers.
So 4 zeros.
So yes, extremely. Exactly, very. I say, and with the carafe filters, without wishing to discredit anyone, they're mainly for limescale protection. They reduce limescale, but they can eliminate pesticides or similar, VOCs, chlorine or similar, and they simply give a softer or better taste. And the problem with the filters is that Stiftung Warentest, Carsten Sturz and K-Tip, you can research all that online. They have all found that these filters become contaminated because the user leaves the water to stand and then it stagnates, then germs come in from outside, aerobic mesophilic germs, which also come in on the air, and then the water is contaminated with several thousand of these germs after a very short time.
Very complex. What is the next step after this carafe filter?
Conventional filters are then activated carbon filters, and various companies sell them drop shipping. Now very many OEMs, i.e. no-name brands or with their own logo, these are simply sintered or activated carbon, are pressed with hot glue, i.e. polyethylene glue and activated carbon. These are small cartridges, and you have the problem that normal activated carbon, for example, cannot filter heavy metals. It's called adsorption, so it sticks to the surface, and accordingly, it can also happen that you get a pressure shock, contamination or the like. It can also dissolve again, so you can never be sure that the pollutant will really stick there. You can never be sure that the pollutant will really stick to the surface. They generally say replace it every 6 months, but you never know.
The next stage, what would that be?
Yes, after that, there are also ultrafilters, which are then used mainly because they are much finer, so they are deeper, and you can also filter out bacteria, for example, and also heavy metals. And after that comes our level, where we are in the ultra nano range, a hyperfiltration, so to speak, where we are at 0.5 nanometers, passes through our membrane, and that's where you can effectively filter out all these PFAS nanoparticles, microplastics, nanoplastics, pesticides, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, and so on.
So it's actually the highest of feelings.
Exactly, right? And that requires nanotechnology, and we have the patent for it.
Yes. If you attempt to tap it, it will not detach and then penetrate again, but rather remain securely in its position. So that is 100% safe.
Yes, the presence of a nanocoating leads to a situation where a significant buildup of pollutants can obstruct the membrane, resulting in a gradual decrease in the flow rate. Eventually, the flow rate becomes so minimal that it ceases completely, thereby halting any further water passage. Exactly, and logically we also have a sensor in it, so it is also digitally monitored, and then there is also an alarm if too much contamination is detected.
And where do I connect such a system?
Exactly. We are focusing on this topic right now, especially with biohacking, longevity, on drinking water in the kitchen from the point of view, so to speak, because we will also talk about this later with molecular hydrogen enrichers, and that's where you connect it in the kitchen. We have a cooperation with Mulex, for example, where the same waste compartment remains, can be modernized, so to speak. If you have no space, you still have the same with the 35 liters. It is simply adjusted to the other side, and then you can use the filter. This has now been specially designed with Mulex. It has explicit space with the Evodrop filter system, and then you have a multifunctional tap. Means hot and cold water normally from the house, and then left filtered water and filtered water with hydrogen.
I also have a system like this at home. Thanks to you, Fabio. It's real, it's cool. We had it mounted on the inside of the garbage can on the left and right. It holds really well, and we have very, very good and, in my opinion, healthy water, and also with hydrogen. That's right, it's refreshing, it goes down like water exactly, and even easier. You should definitely give it a try. Where could you try it out? So we have a few more questions, but first of all, something along the lines of a showroom. Do you have one?
Like oil?
Like oil, exactly. And even easier. You should definitely give it a try. Where could you try it out? So we have a few more questions, but first of all, something along the lines of a showroom. Do you have one?
Right, yes, we are based in British-Helen. And we have a showroom there, or rather several showrooms. We also have sales partners. A sales partner Nextwell in St. Gallen, in Lucerne, in Bern, for example, in Thurgo, where people can also go if they don't want to make the trip to Zurich, and we have our own sales team. We advise from A to Z, which means the customer can request evodrop.com, where you can schedule a telephone consultation, video conference, personality exchange. You can do all that. Everything is already automated, works incredibly. And then the people send us the pictures, we go there, the plumber investigates the situation, and then we also have our own plumbing technicians where we can actually supply everything from A to Z profoundly and holistically, so to speak.
Exactly, that also works in a rented apartment. Exactly. It's not just condominiums that are predestined for this. You now have various patents for your Evodrop systems. Give us a quick tour. What all have you developed yourselves?
Indeed, we possess a variety of patents worldwide, encompassing patent families originating from successful applications in numerous countries. Of particular interest is our utilization of the ultra-nano membrane in our device, which operates by effectively filtering particles down to 0.5 nanometers. Our expertise lies in the development of this nanomembrane, supplemented by a rotating nozzle that enhances water coherence. This innovative system aims to optimize bioavailability by ensuring the water is purified and fresh, much like the effect achieved through activated carbon. Furthermore, we have implemented an antibacterial coating that is carefully applied to the filters. This development guarantees the filtration process remains effective, even during long periods of absence where only occasional rinsing cycles occur. Additionally, our patented antibacterial and antiviral fleece is integrated into the filters, membranes, pre-filters, and post-filters. This fleece acts as an extra safeguard, purifying the water once more, in case any contamination occurs via the water source or during municipal treatment. Another distinguishing feature we offer is our antimicrobial water hose system. Our hoses have their own patent and incorporate antimicrobial properties, thus minimizing the risk of filter contamination resulting from prolonged stagnation. This design is particularly useful when leaving for an extended period, such as a 2-week vacation, where typical backwashing may not suffice. Finally, we have developed a specialized mixing nozzle for the hydrogen membrane, which carefully calibrates the hydrogen levels in the water. This process ensures optimal hydrogen content, providing a longer-lasting effect that persists for several hours rather than fizzling out after just a few minutes.
Yes, there are even different levels of hydrogen.
Exactly. Yes, because it has to bind in the water because it's a gas and the hydrogen itself becomes molecular hydrogen 8,2, and that has to or should bind in the water because if you fill your water from home now, you drink it throughout the day, then you still want to have hydrogen water when you're at work after 7 or 6 or 7 hours and not just when you fill it and put the glass on. And that's the problem with many technologies. It doesn't last. It's not sustainable in terms of the technology.
And of course, you also have it directly available at home, so there's no need to lug water bottles around. That's my next point, of course. Drinking water bottles from the store. What is the difference between mineral water and your water?
Yes, mineral water is bottled with a focus on sustainability and ecology, even though companies may claim to plant trees or engage in similar practices. However, the water is still transported from one location to another, which presents its own challenges. Additionally, if you believe you are making a sustainable choice by purchasing reusable PET or glass bottles, recent studies have revealed that these containers can be considerably more contaminated with microplastics and bacterial contamination compared to other options. This contamination arises from the recycling process where the bottles are cleaned with hot water, causing microplastics from the mixing nozzles and the cleaning itself to mix with the water. Consequently, glass bottles tend to have a substantial amount of microplastics, which conflicts with the intention of those who opt for bottled water due to their preference for not consuming tap water. To compensate for these concerns, many people turn to tap water instead. In fact, it is common for individuals to count among up to a third of Switzerland's population when it comes to daily household consumption of water. While tap water offers a solution, it often suffers from a lack of taste, often described as stale or metallic, making it less appealing for consumption. In contrast, our water undergoes a comprehensive filtering process and refining methods, guaranteeing not only purity but also a pleasant and easy-to-drink water. The goal is to make it soft and gentle on the body, ensuring that it satisfies not just the need for hydration, but also the desire for a flavorful experience. On the topic of mineral water, it is important to note that it can still contain hormones such as perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, despite claims of being free from bisphenol A, BPA. Substitute chemicals like bisphenol S, BPS, or bisphenol P, PPT, are commonly found in these products and are just as harmful, if not worse, than BPA. This deceptive marketing strategy aims to present the product as free from one carcinogenic substance while substituting it with another. Consequently, I do not recommend mineral water to anyone. Even if you prefer sparkling water, opting for a cheap sparkling water dispenser available online is a practical solution. This will give you the option to enjoy sparkling water whenever you need it, whether it's for guests or for creating refreshing mixed drinks like wine spritzers or Aperol Spritz, both in a cost-effective manner.
We still use carbonated mineral water, but that would be a good alternative. Definitely. Such an important point. Another lesson learned, you never stop learning. Above all, what always sticks in my mind, is the distance between the water treatment plant, wherever it is, whether you take water from Lake Zurich, from the treatment water barracks there, and then through the pipes to your house. Even if you have a new building, you don't know how the water was transported to you beforehand. What about other decalcification systems that may still be in the building?
Filter systems in general, now in the whole house.
A decalcification system does not necessarily filter out these pesticides and these plastics. Microplastics out of here, right?
Right. A decalcification system or ion exchanger with salt or whatever, that is not a filter in principle. No, it merely exchanges calcium, magnesium for sodium. And it's definitely not a filter, which means you still need it, and we have a solution for that. We'll come to that in the next podcast.
Make sure to connect with Fabio on LinkedIn to stay updated with his expertise. Follow Evodrop on Instagram for more insights and podcast series, and don't forget to check their LinkedIn page as well. Length 196 characters.
That's right.
Very good. We now have two very, very interesting questions. Firstly, top athletes also drink your filtered water. What do the studies say? What do these athletes say personally?
Yes, for us, it's the, as they say, the tumbleweed that has actually made us socially acceptable, because marketing is closely connected to what professional footballers or athletes consume, and it is also tailored to appeal to the average consumer, ensuring it is relevant and relatable. And we have Mr. Schurter, for example, who is a multiple world champion in mountain biking, who has our complete systems. We also have many professional footballers from top clubs in England, in Germany, where there is, of course, the problem of sponsorship contracts. You can't mention that. We also have Sven Hannawald, ski jumping world champion, Olympic champions, where we now also have many Swiss, but they have sponsorship contracts. We are not allowed to mention them. That's funny because they still drink our water and have sponsorship contracts. That's just plausible. We have to respect that. And we also have top clubs like FC Zurich, FC St. Gallen, the Lakers, ice hockey clubs in Bern. And many more. And on the one hand, we have empirical studies with the players themselves, where you can, of course, determine this with lactate levels, for example, i.e. the inflammation levels or the lactic acids, which also go down when I do weight training, endurance sports, and with the hydrogen, you can drastically reduce the inflammation levels.
So fewer accidents, fewer injuries.
Not just that, but additionally, when I experience muscle soreness, lactate is produced almost immediately after engaging in strength training or endurance activities. This lactic acid, known as lactate, can be verified by examining the measured values that indicate a considerable reduction in lactate levels due to the introduction of hydrogen. Interestingly, even when combined with amino acids or protein powders, this hydrogen makes it biologically available and accessible to cells. Our research has demonstrated a notable improvement in cell activity, approximately 130% higher compared to Swiss tap water. This evidence has also been substantiated through cell cultures and laboratory experiments. Mineral waters are significantly more effective in enhancing cell activity and regeneration, performed up to 130 times better. Their regeneration speed increased by either 48% or 50%, making it faster compared to both Swiss tap water and mineral water. Consequently, they experienced a notable improvement in their ability to regenerate.
Isn't it?
Absolutely, and longevity, and that is also the era in which people have been living since or with. Corona and the whole topic surrounding it has made people more mindful and concerned about their health. Personally, I strive to keep myself healthy and take this responsibility seriously. It has become evident that people are increasingly focused on supplements and food supplements, However, it is important to understand that these supplements should not be seen as substitutes for fresh fruits and vegetables. They simply
Absolutely.
cannot compare to the incredible power of hydrogen, which is undoubtedly the strongest selective antioxidant. Unlike vitamin C and similar substances, which the body complexifies and turns into weakened radicals, hydrogen acts much more efficiently. You don't need to be a chemist to grasp this concept. Many food supplements available in the market lack selectivity, as they are unable to differentiate between different types of radicals, including essential ones that help the body defend against viruses, flu, and other germs. These supplements end up blocking the very radicals that are necessary for our defense system. Hydrogen, on the other hand, is highly selective and only absorbs those radicals that do not hinder the cell cycle process in the human body. The evidence supporting hydrogen's selective properties is extensive, with over 800 studies conducted worldwide by renowned Nobel Prize winners from countries like Asia and the USA. This multifaceted topic of biohacking and longevity also has major implications for anti-aging. Hydrogen has proven to be the most powerful antioxidant due to its omnipresence in our daily lives. Whether it be the stress of work, environmental pollution, or toxins, hydrogen has the ability to neutralize nitrosative and oxidative stress that our bodies encounter. In fact, studies have even shown promising results in relation to cancer treatment. For instance, graphite tumors, an incurable cancer, have responded positively to hydrogen therapy. In conclusion, the significance of taking care of our health and exploring powerful antioxidants like hydrogen cannot be overstated. The extensive research and the positive impact it has shown on our well-being make it a topic worthy of our attention and consideration. We were able to prove that the lifespan and blood values of the cells were significantly improved and the lifespan of the cell was doubled. Simply by injecting hydrogen water. So that's actually spectacular, and then you hope you don't want to knock anyone off their perch, but there are synergistic collaborations that's how I imagine the future, not in hospitals, but in health centers. I would proclaim that now, where you have such technologies together with conventional medicine and what else is available for natural medicine, together with something like our technology.
After all, our bodies are mainly made up of water, and we should be drinking healthy water, shouldn't we?
Absolutely, yes. From a percentage point of view, everyone always talks about 70%. You have to add that if you look at it from a molecular mass perspective, we are 99.4% water, so we are water, and that is exactly
Lots and lots of little drops of water everywhere. Madness. And that is steadily the drop of Hiltonstein. Wow, so mega exciting. We have gained extensive knowledge about the importance of healthy water and how to obtain it easily. We express our deep appreciation. Before we conclude, we kindly urge our audience to remain highly informed about water-related matters. Their enhanced awareness contributes significantly to addressing this critical topic.
We possess numerous valid certificates that have been meticulously assessed and approved by accredited laboratories and similar entities. Our goal is to promote greater awareness and appreciation for the omnipresent topic of water. This appreciation is crucial as it enables us to approach this invaluable resource with more mindfulness. The more conscientiously we manage water, the greater potential for innovative solutions, not only Evodrop specifically, but also other similar groundbreaking innovations. This kind of progress is essential for a sustainable planet, fulfilling the need to preserve Earth, our unique water planet. As a result, our focus should not solely lie on exploring other planets, such as Mars, but rather on maintaining and safeguarding the phenomenal planet we already inhabit. and nothing works without water.